Hello and welcome to Nerd Goblin Art. I'm Lula. Today I'm making some jewellery. I'm using my UV lamp, JDiction UV resin, and I've got these charms that I purchased from Temu. I've just snipped off the little hoops that were on the top. I'm just showing you now. This is how I store them. I got all sorts of different things, lots of Halloween bits and pieces at the moment that I've just recently sorted. And these are also from Temu. These are little leaves and they are for nail art. But I figured that it'd be perfect for what I do with making jewellery. The tray is from Amazon. I will link in the description below. So when I'm doing jewellery, I like with the charms, I used to do them on the outside, then I realised to do them on the inside, it looks better. So I like to put a little bit in of UV resin in first and cure that. At the moment, I'm just noticing that I had a few little bits in my tray. Now, my lamp is from Resin Rockers. It's got mirrored bottom there, so I can get the bottom and the top of the resin. I'm just using my little cup and I'm going to add in my pretty leaves. Quickly realised that my my tweezers are really no good for trying to get these bits out, so I quickly changed to a spoon, which is a lot better. So I'm just mixing up the colours, few different ones from the different bits. There we go. You sped up a little bit as well because this video was actually it was like an hour long, so I've sped up bits here and there. I put in some more resin, and I like to make sure that the charm has plenty on it as well because it helps with bubbles. So just popping it in there again. This lamp, by the way, is not currently available in the UK, but it is a fab lamp. I saw Daniel Cooper using one for a very long time. And I used one of his discount codes. I'm not sponsored whatsoever, but I used one of his discount codes. It's a bit expensive, but for me, it's worth it for me because it can do a lot and you can change the temperatures as well, and you've got different times and stuff. I am sorry, I forget with the camera, but I honestly I do sort it out. So what I've just done there is I've emptied my little combination of leaves in, and I'm using a long net lighter to help with the bubbles. So that's just my orange glitter from Into Resin. It's the non-sync stuff. It's just lovely glitter. It's so fine, so I like it. I like using it. I've used it in so many projects. I use it with epoxy resin and with UV resin. Just gives it a little bit of an extra, an extra dynamic to the pendant. I do promise. I do start remembering. Oh, there's a camera. There you go. Using my long net lighter again and popping it under. I'm only putting them on for, I think it's a 90-second, might be a 60-second actually. So I'm just going to get bits ready again for my next pendant. And these really lovely colours of these little leaves as well. I believe they're maple leaves. But as I say, they're from Timu and they're meant for nail art. I use so much stuff. Look at that. How effective is that? That's without and that's with a back. I quickly decide that it does probably need a backing. I picked up an owl and I've got a hedgehog. They were all separate buys. Unfortunately, they didn't come in like a set. Well, it's not unfortunate actually. I think it's quite useful because you can decide how many you want. And it's just a case of getting a tool and snipping off the little hoops if you want to. I think they look a lot better. So once again, I'm just putting in a small amount of UV resin on its own for the charms to be rested on. It gives more of a domey. You can put them straight in if you really want to, but I do find that it helps with the bubbles. It really is quite. There's not a lot of light in my studio today. It's quite an overcast day, and we have taken, we have a sail up usually, to, because I can't have blinds. But we've taken it down for a bit, but it didn't seem to have any effect on the resin. So there, I just put a little bit of resin on the hedgehog because he's got more, because of his spikes. I didn't want to risk getting a ton of bubbles under there. And the same with the owl, there's lots of detail on these as opposed to some of the other charms. So a little bit on there. I'm running out of that particular bottle, but I do have a new one on standby. And I'm having a little fight at the moment because the hedgehog wants to move around to not where I want it to be. So I quickly realise, well, there's my bubbles again. I quickly realise if I get my little UV torch, I can kind of control where the little charms sit quite quickly and then pop them under the lamp. Is that quick? That I do love UV. I love making jewellery and I love making it like this. I find it enjoyable and relaxing. And I just blown away by how quickly that little UV, handheld, little torch can make a big difference, as well as this big lamp that I have. So again, I'm just covering. That first layer was cured. So I'm just putting in my layer of UV with leaves in. And again, check it. I think I was doing it even without there being bubbles, just to be on the safe side. So I decided that it needed, excuse the cat, it needed a bit of black backing. UV resin is a pain. I haven't got specific black UV resin, but I think I'm going to get some. But I have found that using this a little bit of black um, glitter in the resin really does help. So just putting it back there. And we're on to my fresh pot. So just added a little bit more to put on there. It's just a case that, with the light penetrating through, this lamp can do it. It can get through quite a bit because of it being able to adjust the temperatures. But I'm still getting used to the lamp, so I'm still figuring out the best temperatures and such for things. I'm just getting rid of bits of glitter, and as my cat Calcifer, you might have seen him suddenly jump up, which is unusual for him when I'm doing work, decided to come up and be nosy. So I was just making sure there's no hairs. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it looks better with a darker backing on it. So definitely, so pretty though. So I can start doing this now, basically. So get out some more black and put it on the back of that hair. Little bit of resin. I really need to dig out. I do have another tray, the same one as this, and I could be like rotating. I really must dig her out, but for some reason it's a weird thing, but it's my favourite, even though it's crazy, isn't it? It's what makes it so wonderfully weird. It's my favourite one, even though the other one's probably exactly the same. I like using this one. It's my favourite. Like having the same your favourite hob, isn't it? Oh, isn't that lovely? Look at that. So pretty. I'm so glad that I've mixed in a load of different colour leaves. Yeah. A little hedgehog in there. It's so cute. And I might as well start on the next one. What's next too? So I've got a squirrel. And I think it's a smaller owl that I picked out. I did actually get some foxes, but for some reason I didn't pull them out. They're not as they're just like the idea of a fox. They're not really. I couldn't find any that were detailed, which is a shame. I will have another look though. So there it is. It looks a lot better with the, even with the black glitter back. So back into it. There are so many. It looks small, but there's so much in this little set, and I think it was incredibly well. It's Timu. I think it was £1 something, if that. But don't be afraid to use stuff if it's intended for nail art or whatever. Use it. It's fine. It's not going to hurt. So again, because of the detail on the owl, I put some on the side of it just to make sure I was getting rid of any possibility of bubbles underneath. And again, same problem I had before. The owl decided he wanted to go on an adventure, so just quickly pulled out my torch just to make sure he stayed in the place I want. And this is where I begin my game of trying to gather the tiny little leaves. It entertained me. I think it's a new game that I created. There you go. And now that clear um, is cured, I can now add on the leaves. Need a bit more. I don't want to go putting tons in the first, because just in case I decide to use something different, it's better to add, isn't it? There you go, popping them all in and checking for bubbles again, and then it goes to the lamp. You get the idea. But yeah, my game of trying to tidy. Yeah, I know why. Why I don't know why. It was fun. I was flicking them everywhere, getting them everywhere. And again with the black glitter. There he goes again. Yeah, I'm still playing this game. I will get it. I will get them all. I suppose I could have tried to edit this out, but I'm still learning how to edit, so I wasn't sure how to actually cut it. I'm sorry. But look, got a lovely owl, and we got a lovely squirrel. I realised when I took that one out that it wasn't as cured as I'd like it to be. So there we go, and we got a pumpkin, and I've pulled out the orange glitter. It's really chunky glitter. It's a really lovely glitter actually. It works. I've actually done one of those big pumpkin molds using it and a little bit of spot of glue trick to help suspend the glitter. I think that was another Daniel Cooper um, win basically. I think that's something he came up with and obviously made it through to all of us. So just popping up on a little bit of resin, of UV resin onto the pumpkin. The next load. I know, I'm so clumsy. Just flick it everywhere, get it everywhere in the way. There we go, and again, this playing a slidey game. Under it goes. It's pretty, isn't it? I just love autumn. I just love the colours. I love the oranges and golds and the reds. It's just so beautiful. And yes, it's August, but August is, it's quickly running away, isn't it? There we go. So bottom layer is cured, so I'm putting in my orange glitter. I would love it if you could like and subscribe to my channel as well. Look at all the pretties. So many pretties. So I'm going to do that hadn't cured enough. I didn't have it turned up enough, and because of the amount of glitter, the UV hadn't quite got through, so I just had to pop it on again. So I'm going to use this glitter, this purple starry glitter. Again, it's from Temu. I haven't been able to find it anywhere else. But I tell you what, it is gorgeous. Ooh, look at that. The pumpkin. There we go. So I'm going to do the spider web. But this glitter, it is gorgeous. It's not even glitter, I suppose. Kind of like a glitter. But it is from Temu. I think I ordered a second bag on my last order because I've used it. So I've been using it so much on jewellery. And, it's been really popular because anything that I've made with it has actually sold. As I do have a website, and you're more than welcome. It's in the description. I do sell my jewellery and all sorts of things that I make and paint. Tends to be quite popular. So again, just positioning with my little torch to stop it from being all slippity and slidey. I think this is the last one that I'm making. And there's just my craft knife. I don't have a deburring tool yet. I'm comfortable with my X-Acto knife. So there we go. So mixing in again and pouring over the top. Oh, so sticky, so sticky. It is so sticky. I don't actually know what I'm doing here. There you go. I was getting these are my flat bales that I attach. I don't actually have any findings for the size of these particular pendants to fit into. These are quite big. I've yet to find any. It'd be a lot easier, I think. But these flat, they're fab. Are they again? They're from Amazon. I'm just using UV resin to position them, but I do use a super glue later over the back just to secure it in place. I believe I use B7000. There we go. So I've switched it up. I've got some black mica powder and I'm just using the tiniest amount because obviously with the UV light penetrating through to actually cure it. So I am aware, I'm just aware of that. So it's it's not opaque basically, and under it goes. I just think that just bearing on what you decide to put on the backs really makes a difference at the front. If you put lighter, you get a completely different effect with some of these glitters and such, depending on the backing you decide on. So I'm just showing you this is how I do all my jewellery. I'll always use the UV resin for the findings. I'm just using my nail file board there. I got loads of those. Just to get rid of any apologies for off the screen. I know. So I was just getting a little bit of a sharp bit so to make sure that it was nice. Ooh, look. Isn't it pretty? It's not as centre as I'd like it, but I won't tell anybody if you don't. There we go. So after I filed this one down, I'm just giving it, giving it more of a even surface. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, this one needs a darker backing as well. If it was sitting on, if I could find um the tray bale type things that they can sit on it, sometimes it doesn't always make a massive difference, but I think these particularly did need the darker backings. Is the squiggle. So, slight boo boo here. The back of this one it was a little bit lumpy after it was cured last time. I think I had the setting up too high and it bubbled a little bit. So it over poured on its, so I just put it up there just to balance it out a little bit, and it's having its cure. And unbeknownst to me at this point, some of that resin had managed to get around to the front of the squirrel. So apologies, I was looking at it and realised that I wasn't quite on screen. So the darker resin managed to make its way round to the front. So I'm just using my X-Acto knife to try and get some of that off. I thought I'd keep this in because I'm still learning myself. Not perfect, but it is fixable. It can be sorted. Again, I just wanted an even surface. So I used my X-Acto knife to get some of the parts off, but some of it just wasn't coming. So using was essentially a sander. um, I didn't have any sanding paper to hand, but that worked fine. So sanding it down, scraping it down a bit, and then you can just fix it by getting some resin, some more of your UV resin. And I'm sorry again, it's not on screen, but I'm just using my silicone tool just to, there you go, look, just to get the resin, a fresh lot of resin over where I scraped and pushed away. And again, just putting some flat these on. The glue I use, it's really good. The B7000. I don't think it's as good as B6000. I've heard it's not as good, but I use the B7000 anyway. It was what was recommended on Amazon, and that's where I ordered. And I like to give it, I'll pop it on the back, and I like to give it a good 24 hours before attaching any of any chains or what to them. And the next one. I do the same when I make earrings and stuff, when I'm putting the findings on the back of like studs. And so there you go, look. So you wouldn't have thought that I'd had a little mishap with Mr. Squirrel. So I'm just going to use my finger this time. Shine it up, and there you go. Aren't they pretty? And they're fun. They're a bit different, I think. So I hope you enjoyed watching. And it's just good fun. And it's just another thing, another idea. Thank you so much for watching. Love you. Stay weird.